Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the programme of the week. Yes, the one and only James Whale Radio Show. Just a moment, before we put our jingle in, of course, if you bother to get in touch with us, you can have your own personalised radio jingles put in at this point. And today, we're going to say hi to all our listeners over in Cyprus in Radio Napa.
James Whale, the voice of reason on the James Whale Radio Show.
Now, here we go again. What an interesting week. We've had the budget and hi, as I said before, to all our friends out in Cyprus today. The reason I mentioned Radio Napa is that our special guest later on the programme is the one and only Theo Paphitis, formerly Dragon's Den superstar. And we'll be talking to Theo about all kinds of stuff a little bit later on in the programme. Anyway, welcome to the show. Rob, are you awake today for the programme or not?
Today I'll be awake.
You sure?
Yes, today's going to be an awake day.
Good. Well, I'm very pleased to hear it. Very pleased to hear it. I've got lots to talk about today.
You have? I've seen the list.
Yeah. I don't know where to start. I'm so excited. Thanks to all our friends at talentgb.com and Audio Boo, Talent GB and Audio Boo, who put this program out, as well as the myriad of radio stations. If your radio station is not included, then get in touch. We'll tell you how you can get the program, and you can find out by emailing me at
jameswhaleradio@gmail.com.
You see, you should put that on the top of my list.
What you
of
need
things to do.
What?
I mean, I know I've got it here somewhere, jameswhaleradio@gmail.com.
It's not on the list, I've just checked.
It is on the list here. I've got it here. Just after it says, don't forget, James Whale is available for grand openings, after-dinner speeches, voiceovers, and answer phone messages.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just after that it says, get in touch with jameswhaleradio@gmail.com.
There we go then.
But not for anything else. Not for anything else. Oh, actually, there's a new thing. We have a new thing here to tell you about. That's our new shop. Sells copies of my book, because I've got so many, I just need to get rid of a few of them. So if you want to get a paperback, go to the shop, or there's T-shirts, various other things. We're thinking of selling old furniture as well.
What have you got?
I don't know. I mean, we could all find... What we need is to find stuff to sell in the shop.
You got rid of your sofa, though.
I know, but it's a commercial radio show, so I thought we've got to find stuff to make money out of. jameswhaleradio.co.uk, the website, check that out, /shop.
That's easy.
That's easy. So don't forget, jameswhaleradio.co.uk /shop. And peruse, go and have a walk around the shop, spend some of the money. Apparently we're all so much better off after George Osborne gave us the budget. And I don't know about you, but I listened intently and I didn't really understand a word of it, except that he's not going to put the fuel up, because he could have put that up in September. If you've got children, you can get a couple of grand back for childcare, and that's okay, but I don't have any children at home. I farm them all out. That's why. There's nothing in it for well, how can there really be anything in it when we owe so much money, and somebody somewhere has got to pay the bill? So if we're not paying tax, then he's going to be taking it off as somewhere else, isn't he? I mean, you understand stuff like this, Rob, don't you?
As far as I'm concerned, the budget, all the normal person needs to know is, has the VAT gone up? And that's all we need to know.
The VAT hasn't gone up.
That's it.
But the tax allowance is going up. It's going up to £10,000 before you start paying tax. And he's going to put the higher rate of tax. You know, you what is it, £41,000? If you earn more than £41,000 now, you have to start paying higher rate tax. So he's putting that up.
Is he doing anything for struggling radio shows?
No. He's putting that up, though, by £500. So you can earn another £500 before you pay higher rate tax. I think, something like that. Well, listen, when we talk to Theo later, he'll know all about it.
Brilliant.
He'll know all about it, yeah. On my radio show for the BBC on Saturday, BBC Radio Kent, where, of course, you can listen to me Saturday morning from 10 o'clock live, we talked last week about the 125th anniversary of the bottling of Coca-Cola. Can you believe that you've been able to do things with Coke for 125 years?
It used to be a tonic.
Did it?
Yeah, it was sold by like witch doctory type people going from town to town as a tonic, and then Coca-Cola bought it.
I didn't know that. Do you know that the recipe is still kept under lock and key, and that two people have the recipe and they're not allowed to travel together?
Yes.
And they're not allowed to... Did you know that?
Of course I do. I know everything about Coca-Cola.
Oh, right. All I know about Coca-Cola is you can stick rusty bolts in it and the rust comes off.
You could do that with more or less any drink, though.
Can you?
Yeah, it's just the bubbles and the fizz just washing against the, anything with a mild bit of acid in it will do it.
You're so clever.
Tomato ketchup, brown
Robbo,
sauce.
you are so clever. Tomato ketchup does not get rid of rust.
It does.
I'm not having that. It doesn't.
Smear it on your car next time you see a bit of rust.
I will, but cars don't rust anymore, do they? Right. Lots of you had ideas as we asked, what would you like to see bottled? Richard Coulthard said me. So we can pop him open to talk sense to people. That's nice, Richard. You can be a member of my team. Gerald Underwood said the sweat of 1,000 female virgins. That's not very clever. Because in this world where diversity is all, you have to have just the sweat of 1,000 virgins. Male or female, it shouldn't matter one way or the other, should it?
It would for me.
Why?
I don't want the sweat of 1,000 male virgins.
Oh, you've got to be more confident in your sexuality, Rob. I know you live in Wales, but you've got to try and get over that.
I have enough problems with my own sweat. I'm not going to splash on somebody else's.
Matthew Williams said, your sidekick Rob, he really should change to Coke Zero.
Coke Zero?
Yeah.
Is
Who's Matthew Williams? Is he a friend of yours?
No, he's not. He might be. I just don't know. Coke Zero is just Diet Coke for men. It's just rebranded. Yeah. It's because men don't like drinking Diet Coke. It's bad for the image, so they made Coke Zero.
Well, Vernon Stokes says he wants to bottle sunshine. Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? That's lovely. Got anything original? We had loads of stuff coming in that wasn't very original. You could text me, 81888, text Whale plus your message. Calls cost 25p plus standard rates, and it helps to fund the programme. So as I said before, like Andy, you could just text and say, hi, give me a shout-out. Shout-out to Andy. Text us at 81888. Text the word Whale plus your message to 81888. Calls cost 25p plus standard rates. Right, budget. So we're all going to be better off. We're living in a fantastic country. We're going to talk a bit about Russia and the Crimea, which everybody seems to be getting themselves fixated on. I don't know about you, but I'm just not sure how suddenly, when things were going so well with Russia, that we're suddenly on the brink of being in another Cold War. Now, did you start this, Rob? Because who started this?
It wasn't me. I can promise you it wasn't me. I don't know any Russians.
I thought we were friends with the Russians, Robbo. In fact, I used to do some work for the Voice of Russia, didn't I?
Yeah, but it mysteriously got cancelled.
Well, the Voice of Russia yeah, you're right. You're right. I hadn't thought about that.
See?
I wonder what happened.
Cutting off ties with Britain.
Yeah. Well, I'm slightly concerned. I mean, we're going to apparently tell the Russians to behave themselves, and then if they don't, I tweeted this out, actually. See what lots of people agreed. What are we going to do to them? We tell, look, Mr. Putin, sir, could you stop interfering in other countries? Look, I said, could you stop interfering in other countries? Well, Putin, will you stop interfering in other countries? What do you say to that? Niet. I beg your pardon? Niet. Ah, right, okay. Well, I just thought I'd ask, that's all. And could you increase the amount of gas we can have and oil and stuff? Maybe dried fish too.
And don't forget to check out our shop.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Mr. Putin, don't forget, check out my new shop, jameswhaleradio.co.uk. Go to my website. You'll love it. You'll love it there. Honestly. Could I call you Vlad? maybe, /shop. Yeah, that's a good idea. Because anybody can tell me exactly what we are going to do to the Russians who have now decided that Crimea... And the people in the Crimea had a referendum. Now, apparently it wasn't a legal referendum for some reason. But as I understand it, the Crimea used to be part of Russia. And then the story goes that Khrushchev had a few drinks one night and decided to give the Crimea to Ukraine. As you do. Let that be a warning to anybody who drinks too much, by the way. So now we're not very friendly with the Russians. And gosh, I mean, what's going to happen to all our football clubs?
Sorry,
I don't know.
Football clubs?
Well, they own a lot of them, don't they?
Oh, do they? I don't follow football.
No, I know you don't, but they do. Trust me, they absolutely do. So anybody's got any thoughts on that, get in touch. You could text me at 81888. Text the word whale first of all, then send your message. Calls cost 25p plus standard rates. Or you could tweet me at the James Whale. We're building up lots and lots of followers, and hi to all those followers in Cyprus and Greece now, of course, who listen to this program through Radio Napa. It's like Iron Napa, isn't it? Getting down with the guys.
I see.
What? You're very quiet. What's wrong? My thoughts on Russia, you don't share them?
I am being very careful when it comes to Russia.
Why?
I don't want to upset anybody.
No, it's probably just as well that you don't, actually. Because once you start upsetting people, they can get very, very nasty. Very nasty indeed. Alan Mastel, what's his name? Alan was his name Matzel, says, in What Would You Like to See Bottled Urine? And then he goes on to say, but Coke have done that already. That's just nasty, Alan. Why be negative and nasty? You're talking about a drink that Rob, really, he would not be able to actually exist if it wasn't for Coke, would you?
I drink the stuff day in, day out.
Yeah, you do. And we've got to give that, you saw a photograph of me on Twitter the other day with my Bug Buster thing.
Yes.
That you're into Star Wars. It looks a bit like a lightsaber.
It does. We're going to get. Apparently, we're going to get some. I've had an email today saying that we're going to get some from the company, and we're going to give them away as prizes on the show.
Oh, okay. Are we going to do a competition today or not?
We haven't got time. It's a packed show. You need to.
It is a packed show.
Step up your game a bit.
Do I need to crack on?
You do, yeah.
I need to crack on, do I?
We've got Theo in a minute.
By the way, what?
We've got Theo coming in a minute.
Oh, right, okay. Well, should we play... No, we won't play music before Theo. I'll tell you what, just before we speak to Theo, if you want to listen to some of our old programmes, they're up there now on our YouTube channel, are they not?
They are.
And if you want to find out and see how many we've done, about 20... Was this 27? I think it probably is. They're on iTunes. Go to iTunes, search for James Whale Radio Show, click subscribe. Or subscribe to our James Whale Radio Show YouTube channel. And you can get them all, and you can see pictures of some of the people. Last week's show, which, of course, had the legendary James Cosmo on, very popular. Lots of people missed out. It's still available. It'll always be available. You can go onto our YouTube channel. You can go to my website, and you can hear it again. That's all you have to do, isn't it?
That's it.
That's it. So if everybody now listening to the program goes, subscribes to iTunes, that will get us into the iTunes charts.
We've been in and out of the iTunes charts all along.
Like a flipping yo-yo. Like a flipping yo-yo. Right, I think it's probably time to talk to the legendary Theo Paphitis right after this.
You are listening to James and Rob on the James Whale Radio Show.
Now, to all my listeners in Cyprus via Radio Napa, we are delighted to introduce to the programme Mr. Theo Paphitis.
Good afternoon, James.
Now, Theo, it's a lot. You were actually born in Cyprus, weren't you?
Yeah, but I was born in Limassol, a place called Ios Nigolas.
And what sort of age were you when you came to Britain then?
Oh, I was incredibly young when we left Cyprus and to the UK. I was 6. So whilst I've got memories of infant school and childcare, because my mother worked at the local sugar factory, my memories are few. But actually, not if you. Now I think about it. I mean, it's they merge into all the visits I've had since and everything else. So it still feels so much like home. And even leaving at 6, but I was never too far away.
And do you still speak the language?
I do speak the language, and basically my mother refuses to speak the English language, although she can do. And the strangest thing of all was, when she was in the UK, she refused to speak English, so we had to speak Cypriot at home. And when she went back to live in Cyprus in retirement, all she wants to do is to speak in English to everybody. There you go.
And what about your children, Theo? I mean, do your children speak Cypriot as well?
Sadly not. They struggle to speak English. They're going to love me saying that. No, it's not something that, because my wife's English, and we speak English at home, and it's not something that I want to force on them. If they had the whim or wanted to, then I was always going to encourage it. But neither did, so I'm afraid the sort of Cypriot they know is very limited.
When you came over to England, did you come because your dad had a really good job and because it was going to be a lot of fun over here, or did you come because you had to?
That'd be ridiculous. I mean, we went to England because the streets were paved with gold. That's what everyone said. So there we are. We landed somewhere in Manchester, looked around, and you know what? We couldn't find any gold in them their pavements or streets. So the old man was a musician. He was a bouzouki player, still is. That's his passion, that's his dream. And we were able to go to the UK in those days, which obviously there was no EU, so you needed a visa to go and settle in the UK. But my father and his father worked at the British base. So when the English left and independence was granted to Cyprus, those people that worked at the bases were able to apply for UK passports. And obviously, my father had a UK passport, so I was entitled to one.
And so I didn't know that. Your dad was a musician. He's still a musician, and you don't have a musical bone in your body, do you?
You know that's not true, James. We've had many a night. But I've outsung you all evening. Now that's just a natural talent.
I've seen you break plates, but I thought that was as far as it went.
Sadly, I was waitering at the time.
So when you came over here, your dad presumably got work playing in restaurants and clubs and things like that. So was it a good life that you had when you first came over?
It was a very basic life. We rented for the first year and a half, 2 years, and then we were able to buy a small terrace house in a place called Gorton in Manchester. If the world was going to have an enema, that's exactly where they would place a tube. It wasn't the most salubrious of places, but you could buy a 2-bedroom terrace house as seen on Coronation Street for the princely sum of 500 quid.
Because I think a lot of people won't understand. A lot of people will have seen you on the television show for Sport Relief the other night, where you stayed with a number of families who are not doing so well at the moment. That when you actually, as a young guy, that's more or less how your life was, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there was a family tragedy, unfortunately, when I was about 9, and we ended up living in North London, Finsbury Park in North London. And to be honest with you, from that period, from the age of 9 to really the age of 15, things weren't brilliant. They were, well, listen, you're incredibly resilient as a child, incredibly resilient. You don't miss things you don't know about. And, we weren't unhappy, but there was very little. It was very much a choice whether you had food or you had heating or lighting. And those were the choices that my mother had to make.
In fact, you mostly lived in one room.
Because that was easy to do. It was easy to keep warm. So really, that's how life was. And as I said to you, I don't begrudge it. Don't certainly feel bad about it. It was character building. It was, I had lots of fun as well, but it was tough. So doing the sports relief program about food poverty and heat and light poverty really did set me back.
Do you think that those people who are now living in those circumstances have as much chance of getting out of that situation as you did?
I think the opportunities still are out there. I certainly don't think that we've lost the opportunity, or people should lose hope from being able to break out of the poverty trap. And that's one of the brilliant things about the United Kingdom. Is there is still hope, there is still opportunity. If a poor little immigrant boy like me could get himself into the position I'm in now, which is very blessed and very fortunate to be in that position. I've had some lucky breaks on the way as well. Work hard, and as long as those opportunities still lie there, then there is hope for everybody. And I do believe hope is very much on the horizon for lots of people.
You're not a university graduate, Theo, are you? You left school fairly early, so how have you managed to be so successful?
Well, I left school at 16 with a Scottish certificate in colouring in maps, basically, geography. And so academia wasn't really my strong point. You've got to understand, not only was academia not my strong point, I'm dyslexic, so I struggled terribly with the written word. But I was good at numbers. And I was determined. I knew where I wanted to go. I was prepared to work harder than anyone else, and I was prepared to stack the odds in my favour. I often say that. Why would anybody go to a casino and just gamble when you already know you're going to lose before you start? Because the odds are stacked in your favour. Now, if you go in the casino and stack the cards in your favour, you're likely to be thrown out, or even worse, beaten up and thrown out. But in business, it's called doing your homework and your stuff. Stacking the odds in your favor. Don't have the same odds as everybody else. Make sure the chances of success for you are far greater than they are for the other people. And that's all about doing your homework, knowing your subject matter. And I suppose that was the ethos I had. And being dyslexic at school, I did have to work a hugely amount harder than anyone else to achieve the same standards. So when I left school, my work load just continued that way. And being dyslexic, you find workarounds, you find solutions to problems all the time to work around issues. That was great when I started off in business.
So what was the first business you got into? How did you make your first £100?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, because people ask you, James, normally is how did you make your first million? Well, nobody makes a million unless they win the lottery or they inherit it. You first become, as you say, £100 heir, and £1,000 heir, and a £10,000 heir, and £100,000, and it goes on. And that's what really happened to me. I very much decided that when I left shop, I started off in insurance at the age of 16, in administration, hated it, went into retail, loved it. I used to work for Watches Switzerland, but realised that wasn't going to get me anywhere. So after that, I went back into insurance, but more on the sales side, where I was good, knew my stuff, was prepared to work hard, and then started my own brokerage. From then onwards, went into property, and that led me nicely back round to retail, which is where my passion was.
But it wasn't always easy, was it? I remember we had a conversation once and you told me in 1990, which I don't think that's that far away, you lost the lot.
1989, 90, yeah. That was the last recession before the one we've just gone through.
Yeah.
I've actually lived through 3 recessions, which is quite amazing. And one thing's for certain, they come round. And in 1990, went from everything going my way and a very young man with the world at his feet and the big house with the electric gates and the snooker room and all those things. That recession came, and I lost a lot, basically. And it was a case of selling the big house, moving the family to a much smaller house. I remember my driver at the time started to drive it in those days as well. saying, "Oh, this looks like a doll's house." And in relative terms, it was a doll's house. But, it character building. It makes you realize you take nothing for granted. And I was young enough and fortunate enough to be able to pick it up and start again.
When you went home and told Mrs. P you'd lost the lot, what did she say?
Well, I think, funnily enough, she turned around and said to me, "Well, you know what, we've only lived in this house 2.5 years," she said, "and I haven't finished unpacking yet, so it's going to be easy to pack up again."
Have you made sure that you are rock solid against the next recessions?
Well, we've just lived through this one, which is now come to an end, or coming to an end, slowly coming to an end. And this has been a much better recession for me. In fact, our company's profits have grown all the way through this recession. So those are the lessons that you learn. What doesn't kill you, as they say, just makes you stronger. And for me to have that sort of lesson at such an early age, where I still had the energy and the ambition and the drive to do it again, was, a blessing. And as I say about clouds and silver linings, and that one did have one.
Well, you've still got that, because if most of us, if we had what you have, we'd have given up and decided just to take it easy. Why didn't you do that?
I'm very lucky, incredibly lucky. I really stopped working for money a very, very long time ago. Making money now is, for me, is very much a byproduct of what my achievements are. And it's a way, it's a scorecard. It's a way, you do your accounts, you pay your taxes, you tap yourself on the head and say, "Boy, done good." But it really is a scorecard. It's a product of what I love doing. And if I didn't do this, I don't know what I would do. I love doing what I do. I don't get up in the morning thinking I've got to make money. It's a byproduct. And it's a very fortunate position to be in, to do what you adore and love and can't wait to get up in the morning to do.
And you never fancied sort of moving full-time back to Cyprus and almost becoming a tax exile or something like that?
Well, I've got to tell you, all my friends in Cyprus would love to move full-time to the UK. The reality is Cyprus is an incredibly beautiful country with beautiful people and the most amazing food. But it doesn't give you the same. It's a very tiny island with 700,000 people. It has not got the opportunities that somewhere like the UK has. We are at present going through a very difficult situation. As you know, there was the banking crisis. We have difficulties in being a small island where there's many conflicts of interest, which range all the way through from government to the civil service to the banking sector. And we need to get ourselves independent in those areas to be able to make the right decisions for the people of Cyprus, because the people of Cyprus are fabulous. I don't know of a warmer place to go and visit as a holiday maker. I'm not just saying that. And to anybody who fancies going there, you will not be disappointed. The warmth, the hospitality of the people is unmatched anywhere in the world. So for me, it's a place I love coming back to, but we have got some structural issues. We've got structural issues with regards to our politics. We've still got structural issues with regards to our banking and our levels of debt, and they need to be sorted out.
Now, you are quite a political beast. You've been on Question Time a few times. You got quite political whilst doing this documentary for Sport Relief. Have you ever considered that might be something you'd like to do, that you could make a difference, maybe go back to Cyprus and get involved in politics there?
James, a political beast and me do not go together. I'll take exception to both those things, political and beast. I follow politics. I would say my politics are apolitical. I think I'm far too old to get into politics now. I know I speak my mind too much to be in politics. The Cypriot politics, no one in their right mind would want to get involved in. We have got conflicts because of the size of the island all over the place, as far as that's concerned. And I hope that the present government can be more transparent than the previous ones and do what's right for the people, because they deserve a hell of a lot better than what they've got and have had in the past.
Now, you mentioned winning the lottery just before. Now, I don't know whether you saw in the paper a guy called Neil Trotter, who lives in South London, actually in Merton in South London. He's just won £108 million on the lottery. What would your advice to a young lad who has just suddenly become super rich? What should he do? Because if you suddenly get given that amount of money, it can be detrimental, can't it?
James, all I've got to say, he might have won £108 million, but is he happy?
Well, he doesn't know yet. He's still drinking the champagne.
I'm sure he's ecstatic with £108 million. I think there's a lot of difficulties. With that level of money comes great responsibility. And that's a tough one. He will need to have good advisors, listen to people. A fool and his money, even £108 million, are soon parted. And the influences that you attract are not always for the best. So my advice to Mr. Trotter is to keep his feet firmly on the ground and remember where he came from, because it's done me the power of good.
Because you can't remain the same, can you? You can't say, look, I'm not giving up my job. I'm just going to be the same. I've just got a few quid in the bank. With that amount of money, you have to change, don't you? Not for the worse. I'm not saying you change for the worse, but you have to change just to look after and manage the new situation you're in.
I don't think for 1 minute he can remain the same person. It's impossible. You know, it's just totally and utterly impossible. And there's things, people will treat it differently as well. That's the worst thing about it. So to remain the same, no, he can't. He needs to change, but he needs to have good advisors by his side, and keep common sense. Common sense, you know, I will tell you, is very uncommon. He needs to use common sense, and he does need to remember at all times where he came from, and there is millions like him out there, and he should respect that.
Why did you leave Dragon's Den? I mean, you were one of the most popular dragons. Why did you decide that was enough for you?
James, I've done 8 series, and to be frank with you, it took 4 or 5 weeks of my life. I had great fun. But, you know, I've done it for 8 series. You know, you've got to, as I said to you about, you know, you asked me why I still work. I still work because I get such a kick out of it. The money's a byproduct. Well, I've done 8 series. I've had my kicks out of doing Dragon's Den, and it was time to move on. It was time to do something different. Otherwise, you become stale. You know, I moved on. I had a year of rest from the TV, other than doing things like Question Time and current affairs programs. I've recently done the sports relief program on food poverty, and I think if you tune into the one show coming up over the next few months, 6 months, you see more of me on the beat. So I might be doing a little bit more, but I enjoyed the year off. That year was fabulous because what it allowed me to do is concentrate on my businesses. I bought Robert Dyes, the Ironmongers, and that was in difficulty, and we had to put that straight, which we've done. Boo Avenue we launched, a lingerie brand, and that's now happily growing internationally all around the world. So I've probably got time again to do a little bit of TV, but you've got to have variety in life. You just can't, you know, you just can't do the same thing over and over again. People say to me sometimes, you know, I've got 25 years of experience. Actually, what they've got is 25 years of the same experience.
Year after
you're
year.
Right. And that's only 1 year of experience. I like to do things differently and enjoy different things. And I've got to say, doing Dragon's Den for that time was some of the best years of my life. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I missed it to begin with because it was fabulous, and especially not my fellow dragons. But it was time to move on.
Do you? I mean, it's interesting, isn't it, that every time we know each other quite well. Every time we go somewhere, I remember when I took you to buy your longbow, which you still haven't shot very much. When I took you to buy that, we stopped off in a pub in the middle of nowhere. I can't even remember the name of the village it was in. Do you remember the name?
No, but it was a very pretty village, very, very pretty, and so was the longbow, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's a lovely longbow, and I will get you to shoot it. But the thing I thought was most interesting is that there we are, suddenly we're sitting in a pub, we're having something to eat and a drink, and then people begin to come over and they want to talk to you, they've got ideas, they want to be photographed with you, and they instantly recognise you. And this is from, it's not a peak time programme, a programme on BBC Two suddenly catapulted you into becoming very famous.
Yeah, I mean, people come, fairness, there's very few places in the United Kingdom I'm not recognised in many parts of the world, because Dragon's Den's gone all around the world. And it's quite flattering people want the photographs taken with you. I very rarely say no, if at all. But people do come and talk to you, and it's not just in the vast majority of cases, I would say cases, in fact, I would say all cases, they're incredibly polite and nice. So it's just another benefit. So that's why I count myself incredibly lucky.
And do you mind if people come up and pitch ideas for new businesses to you?
No, of course not. I mean, sometimes people got funny ideas, and we have a laugh about it. But no, I quite enjoy it. I mean, I'd rather have people talking to me than ignoring me.
Oh, good, Rob.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that, because James and myself have been having this idea that we'd like a dragon on board the James Whale project.
It's a good idea, Rob. Why didn't I think of that?
The James Whale project. It sounds like something that is out of the 60s.
Well, it's like a big umbrella. It's like a big umbrella thing for everything that James Whale does. And what we were thinking is offering about 98% of our business.
250
for 250,000. Yeah.
So it sounds a steal. I couldn't do it to you.
98%, Theo.
98%.
Mind you, if you invested 98%, gave us 250,000, you wouldn't see us for dust.
Well, that would be more worrying. Because when you're investing, you've got to make sure that the people you're investing in have got more to gain than you. Otherwise, if they haven't got more to gain than you, and you've got more to gain than them, you're never going to be aligned.
All those companies that you invested in for Dragon's Den, did they all do well, or did some of them fizzle out? Did you make a lot of money out of Dragon's Den, or did you lose a lot?
You had the good, the bad, and the ugly. You've had ones that have done brilliantly well, you've had ones that have done moderately well, and you've had ones that really failed. And it's not because I invested in them that they've done well or that they've failed. It's about the people I've invested in. Some of the people I've invested in have done, really have worked incredibly hard and buckled down to it, and others haven't. And they just couldn't hack it. So, but you do invest in people, and that's that's my investment criteria.
Theo, thank you very much indeed.
It's a pleasure. Catch up soon.
So there we are, Theo Paphitis, and I know Theo quite well, and he is an excellent bloke. He doesn't behave as if he is a multi-millionaire. He behaves like one of the lads. We must apologise for the poor quality of the phone line, but we had to catch Theo when we could. He's off, obviously, buying businesses. And thank him very much indeed for his time. I don't think he liked the idea of 98% of the business, really.
I think we went in too low. I think we should give him 99.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we just want his money to run.
Yeah. Well, we better stick to making money out of flogging me audiobook and stuff like that.
All right, do that then.
Okay. Well, if you would like a free copy of my audiobook, that's my autobiography. It's called Almost a Celebrity. If you want it for free, the audio version, you can play it wherever you are. Go to the website, click on Audible. There's a little advert. Click on it. Do it now. That's it. Click on that. And you get the book absolutely free, okay? And it's very easy. If you are an Amazon member of Amazon, you don't even need to register, do they?
No, they just, as soon as they go to the Audible website, it'll put their Amazon details in, and it will cross-convert them.
Cross-combobulate.
Cross-combobulate.
That's the word.
Yeah.
That is the word, yeah. And so if you do that, that helps to fund the show, and you get a free copy of the book. And if you love films, too, you'll see another little ad up there for Love Film. And if you click on Love Film, we will give you a month. Well, we won't. They will give you a month of free movies. That is pretty good, isn't it?
It is.
A month of free movies. So just go to the website, jameswellradio.co.uk, click on either the Love Film logo, click on that, you get a month's free films. You might as well click on both. Click on Audible, and you can go there and you can get the audio version of my autobiography absolutely free. So do that as well. Now, I wanted to talk a bit more about the Crimea. We've had a few thoughts coming in from the dear listeners. By the way, if you want to get in touch, if there's something you want to say, anybody like Theo that you would like to hear as a guest on the program, then all you have to do is text me. Very simple. Text me 81888, starting your text with the word whale. Tell me who you would like to have on the program. Give me the name of the person you'd like to have on the program, and if you want to mention for somebody, you want us to give somebody a mention, do that as well, and that will of course help to fund the show. We should have told Theo about this bit, shouldn't we? He could have had he'd be buying in to a solvent business.
Well, we haven't got any debts, have we?
No. So, text us 81888, text the word whale, WHALE first, then your message, and calls cost 25p plus standard network rate, and your 25p goes to help keep the show going. Now, the Crimean referendum we were talking about, Dave Watkins says, EU don't like it because they had a referendum and didn't give the answer the EU wanted. This anger won't go away until the vote is returned with the result they want. Gee, it's interesting, that, isn't it? Dave Matzel says, no, 93% yes seems pretty emphatic to me. Fran Griffin says, they are only angry because they haven't got their own way. Teddies at dawn can be very dangerous when those throwing the teddies are psychopaths. If the politicians had to do the fighting, Robbo, they'd never get us into this situation. And Daniel Thurtle says, nah, it's up to the people of the Crimea, and they seem to want to be Russian. Let's have a look through here, see if I can find some people who agree with David Cameron and Barack Obama and the European Union. Karen Bowman, hello, Karen, says, not really that interested, to be honest. All right, okay. Ali in Wonderland, congrats to the Crimean people and Russia. They did well to get away from the EU and NATO. Oh dear. Eric Whistler, anyone living next door to Ukraine? I do. The Crimea has always been Little Russia, as it is the east of the Ukraine. There's so many myths from both sides about this. Gary Elm says, we don't live there, so we don't know what it's really like. Also, as is usually the case, there's probably far more going on than we do know. It's their country. Let them live as they want. And those are some of your thoughts. If you want to give me some to put on next week's programme, as I say, text me 81888, text the word whale, and your message to me. Calls cost 25p plus standard rates. You can, of course, tweet me your thoughts as well, but text me. And then we've got enough money to do the show again next week. And if you happen to be a small radio station, either DAB, FM, or online, and you would like to put the James Whale Radio Show out, get in touch with Rob, and you can get Rob at the other end of my Gmail address at jameswhaleradio@gmail.com, jameswhaleradio@gmail.com, and ask to speak to Rob. And you can find out how you can put this program out on your radio station as well. How are we doing for time, Robbo?
We're doing okay. Have we got time to talk about the missing plane?
Yes. Now, this is fascinating, isn't it? Eh? What do you think happened first?
I think they're filming the new season of Lost.
And lots of people have said that as well. Now, do you know, there are a few ideas I had about this as well. First of all, Did you see recently the chap, the pilot, had his own simulator in his house, and he'd been practicing landing on little island landing strips.
Ooh.
Did you see that story?
No, I didn't.
You don't read the paper, do you? So you don't know.
I did see one story. Something to do with microchips and patents and all that kind of business.
I didn't see that. Well, the latest story is that this plane could have been landed and that the pilot had been looking at the probability of being able to land on a smaller landing strip. And apparently there's an enormous amount of places that they could have landed this plane. So maybe everybody is still on it, and maybe he's taken it away. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? You think with all the new technology, they would have known where it was.
You'd think some phones would work if they'd landed, though.
Well, you know, they've been ringing some of the phones on there, and some of them are ringing out.
Well, then they should be able to triangulate the signal, then.
Yeah, I've thought that. So why haven't they been able to do that?
I don't know. Maybe we should give them a call and tell them to do that.
Well, I think they probably know. I mean, the other thing is, this is my thought. I'm going to read some of your thoughts in a minute. But my thought was that the plane had been hijacked. It was being flown back maybe to Kuala Lumpur or a major city somewhere. And it was shot out of the sky. And whoever shot it out of the sky has not thought how they're going to break the news to the rest of the world.
That is actually a good theory.
I think it's a good theory. It's better than yours anyway. Filming another series of Lost. Let's see what your thoughts were. You've been getting those into me as well. Neil Kelly, hi Neil, he says, I know this much. Someone knows something more and they're not letting on for whatever reason. I have heard every possibility flaunted around. There's quite a few theories. John Hayter, hello John, says, the plane is in one piece on the ground and the passengers, I think, were alive when it landed. However, 4 passengers were from the same company, who I understand had a share in a patent on a chip manufacturing process, which was a bit of a game changer. If they are all alive now, I'd be surprised, says John. Richard R. Raymond says, I think it was a hijack, ran out of fuel in the sea and crashed. Adam Patterson says, hijacked to kidnap the 20 employees of a microchip firm based in the USA who supply to the US military. Michael Ormerod says he thinks it's probably been shot down. Keith Rogers says, I suspect the Americans know exactly where the plane is situated. Satellite technology is too advanced for them not to know. Yeah, well, there we are. Some of your thoughts. Is it time for us to play some music?
I think so, yes.
Because we've got a rather good piece of music for the end of the show today. A band called Monster Jaw. If you have music you think would be good on this program, get in touch with us, jameswhaleradio@gmail.com, and maybe we can be playing your music on the program. This is called We Don't Care About Anything from their EP, Get a Tattoo.
Gene, nothing in between. You got a new page. I don't like your page. We don't care about anything. Why should we care about anything new? We don't care about anything. Why should we care about anything new? You got a new drug, got a new trend, got a new high. It's a new blend. Got a new age, got a new name, got a new brain. Are we all same? We don't care about it.
So that was Monster Jaw from the EP Get a Tattoo. Well, I've always thought, Rob, you should get a tattoo, to be quite honest.
Of what?
Oh, I don't care. Just get a tattoo. If you want to hear more of them, monsterjaw.co.uk is where you can find them. That's almost it from me. Thank you to all our listeners today. Don't forget, join us by getting in touch. You can text the programme. You know the number, 81888. Text the word whale and your message to us. Calls cost 25p plus standard rates. If you haven't been to our new shop, go to the website, jameswhaleradio.co.uk/shop. Have a look at what we have there. And now thanks to our special guest on the programme today, Mr. Theo Paphitis. And if you just joined us on the radio at the end of the show, well, you can go to our YouTube channel and you can hear the programme again. Say goodbye, Rob.
Goodbye, Rob.
See you next week.
James Well, the voice of reason on the James Well Radio Show.
You're listening to the James Whale Radio Show. For more information, visit www.jameswhaleradio.co.uk. Why not check us out on facebook.com/James Whale Radio Show or follow James on Twitter @The James Whale. James Whale, the voice of reason.